All right, don't mess with Texas, because over the past 2 years, more than 200,000 jobs have been added under one Governor Rick Perry's watch. That is more than any other state, as companies flee high-tax states. So what's exactly his secret? The second installment of our special Help Wanted series, it begins right now. And we've got the governor himself, Republican Governor Rick Perry. Governor, good to see you.
It's good to be with you, right here in front of you.
You're speaking at a big din-din tonight, the Lincoln Day Manhattan dinner, for want of a better term. Donald Trump was originally supposed to speak to this group. He thinks that they think you're the guy running for something else.
Well, we're happy to get to fill in for the Donald. So we'll have fun and share with them about what we're doing in Texas and why they need to pick up and come on down to Texas if they want to live in the land of the free, and a great opportunity down there.
Yeah, but Governor, they haven't searched this far for a speaker since maybe Arnold Schwarzenegger, and there was no way he could run for president.
Right.
So they've sought out Texas.
Yeah.
What do you think that means?
I think it's the right thing for them to do, to pick a governor of a state that's got a great story to tell. When you look at what we've done, seriously, on the job creation side, you said in your opening, what's the secret? And the fact is, it's really not a secret. It's pretty simple. You keep those taxes low and the regulatory climate fair and balanced, predictable. Regulatory, or I should say a legal system that doesn't allow for oversuing. We passed loser pay this last session of the legislature to add to our rather substantial legal protections, if you will, from frivolous lawsuits. And a skilled workforce.
By the way, you mentioned that frivolous lawsuit thing. It got me thinking, there are these ads, Governor, running in, of all places, New Hampshire. Americans for Job Security, putting them out. They're done by a guy who has close ties to you, Dave Carney, who was one of Newt Gingrich's top advisors, I guess, before he quit. And they talk about your own crackdown on frivolous lawsuits and the like, where the loser pays, stuff like that. Yeah. That's odd.
It's a great message.
Yeah. It's in New Hampshire.
Well, the 50 states, in our opinion, are where the laboratories of innovation should be. You know, in my book, Fed Up...
Did you know he was doing this?
I didn't.
Really?
But, that's okay. We like to brag about what's going on in Texas. We like to talk about how does your state match up against the state of Texas when it comes to things like taxes and regulations, litigation. So hopefully in New Hampshire they'll get the message. And
well, they are. They get high Q-score reaction. And I'm wondering, with all this talk about former Gingrich strategists who are looking at you, trying to help you either directly or behind the scenes, whether that's as clear a sign as any you're running for president.
Yeah. I think it's a clear sign that I'm certainly giving an appropriate thought process. You know, 6 weeks ago, this was not on my radar screen. I love being the governor of Texas, and we have done a fabulous job, I think, in that state from the standpoint working with our legislature, our lieutenant governor, and our speaker.
But what changed in 6 weeks to move you closer?
You know, it was a number of conversations that were had with people I trust, including my wife, that basically said, listen, our country's in trouble, and you need to give this a second thought.
So when you looked at the debate of participants as they stand right now, last night, did you have a chance to see that and say, gee, I could beat those guys?
Well, actually, I was watching the Texas Aggies beat Florida State in baseball to go to the College World Series. But
did you see,
the fact is,
did you see any clips?
I know what happens at debates, and I've been in my fair share of debates, so I don't think there was any new ground plowed there.
What would it take for you to join the race then? If you're thinking about it more seriously, what would put you over the edge?
Well, it's just a thought process that I think I need to go through as an individual, realizing the cost both physically, mentally, and what this does to me, my family, and what have you. We'll go through that, give it the appropriate thought, and we have some time.
Do you really? How much time do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
A month?
I'm not sure that you have to make a decision in a month.
Really? You could push it to when?
It's a pretty fast world out there we live in today. So, again, we're giving it the appropriate thought process, and I'd hate to be pointing to a time specific, even if we decide to get in.
You know, the reason why I ask is that reading the press within your fine state and then outside, you have kind of like the Chris Christie phenomenon. very popular outside your state, still popular but not nearly as popular within your state. And there are even Tea Party groups within your state who like you but don't love you, who say that when it comes to things like not spending a rainy day fund, an idea you came up with,
Right.
you say one thing and do another. What do you say?
I say that a prophet is generally not loved in their hometown. That's both biblical and practical. So, we've been around for 10 years as the governor. I'm sure there's some folks who've been rubbed the wrong way, but the fact is the results are pretty hard to argue. We created more jobs than any other state in the nation over the last decade. Population keeps growing. We're adding 4 congressional seats to the state of Texas.
But if you didn't have the oil industry, Governor, would you be as well? I mean, certainly, and I think we were showing all the logos of the companies that have come to your state. That has nothing to do with oil. But oil is a very big employer.
Wouldn't trade it for anything. But when you look at the percentage of our gross domestic product from 1984 versus today, they're almost identical from the oil and gas industry. So we have really grown as a manufacturing state. Who would have thought? 2 weeks ago we announced that GE is going to be building locomotives in the state of Texas. We have Toyota building the Tundra. I mean, the manufacturing side of what's happened in Texas, not to mention the medical technology business has exploded. And we were blessed to have a fellow by the name of Michael Dell be born there. And
well, I think your biggest coup is getting Carl's Jr. Right? I mean,
we
what
love
did you entice a burger guy with?
Hey, freedom. Freedom. They love
You
the
left
smell of
California,
freedom.
right? Yeah.
Freedom from overtaxation,
Did
freedom
you
from over litigation.
personally, in the case of these companies, personally try to woo them?
Oh, yeah, we talked to them personally. We went to California and sat down with them. As a matter of fact, I was in...
You went yourself to California?
Oh, yes, sir. I go to California rather often. I was there Sunday, and I was doing an event.
So you're stealing companies
Absolutely.
right at the belly of the
That's what the 10th Amendment's all about. Competition. Rick Scott, who is a great governor in Florida, Rick and I are always in competition. I mean, he talked about Texas, that he was going to go and get back the jobs that they had lost to Texas in his inaugural address.
It's a friendly rivalry.
Now, this last week with the Mavs beating the Heat, he's kind of have his tail between his legs.
You let it move on. All right, Governor, we're going to say, I do want to pick your brain a little bit on what is going down in South Carolina, more to the point in the Seattle courtroom, to decide whether Boeing has to make those workers unionized or fire them all.
Yeah.
We're going to touch on that more with Governor Rick Perry exclusively. You are watching Fox.